Hello, and welcome to Aperture Viewer. I'm William Weaver, and if you are passionate about awesome visual imagery in Second Life and OpenSim, if you are a new user or someone who's been around for a while, then we think our viewer might be something you're interested in. Our core belief is that nothing is not possible, both in your artistic vision and in our ability to bring you an awesome experience within Second Life. Today, I want to introduce you to the heart of Aperture Viewer, the Aperture Viewer phototools suite, or APS. You can think of it as your central command station for almost every visual aspect of your virtual world. You can open APS anytime by pressing Alt-P. I already have it open, but I'll open and close it to show you what happens when you hit that button. And you can also open it through the toolbar menu at the bottom using this little icon that will toggle it on and off. You can see that it's organized into these tabs, each dedicated to a different area of visual control. I'll just cycle through them real quick, making it easier to find the settings you need without having to hunt through endless menus. So let's take a quick tour. So first up is the Environment tab. This is where you shape the overall entire look and feel of your world, the sky above and the water below, and the overall atmospheric lighting. You can easily manage your sky and water presets. And if you have a lot on your own, you can even check only my settings. And it will limit the ones that you see so you can quickly find the ones that are just made by you. Aperture Viewer also provides for instant atmosphere, quick PBR environment buttons. And we have sunrise, and noon, sunset, and midnight. If you need complete darkness for a studio shoot, then No Light preset does just that. It turns off all the ambient lighting and allows you to more accurately control and understand the lighting environment that you are working with. Under all of this, we find all the sub-tabs for deep customization. For example, we have atmosphere, clouds, sun and moon, and water. So you're not just stuck with the old settings that were inherent inside the wind light that you might be using or the environment setting that you might be using. You can customize them however you like. For example, under our sun and moon, and I'll switch over to midnight, Aperture features not just the old stars that we were stuck with for many years, but we have a vast new array. I'm just going to turn off there we go. We have a vast new array of stars. We've redone the entire galaxy of stars, and you can see that quite clearly in our night sky. You can control the brightness of those stars all the way from perfectly dim and non-existent, all the way up to their brightest setting there. Okay. You can fine-tune all the atmospheric settings inside the APS directly. We have atmospheric haze and haze density. We have all of the cloud settings that you could possibly want to control and use, and all of the water settings as well. And obviously the sun and moon settings are all there. You'll find them all there. For every single slider and option, our guide on our wiki, which I will link below for the Environment tab, has you covered. So next is the Shadow tab. It's labeled SHD for shadows. And this tab is crucial for defining how light sources interact with your scene, the quality of shadows, and adding depth with ambient occlusion. I'm just going to switch this back over to a noon setting so we can kind of see our shadows a little bit better. You can select what cast shadows, whether it's the sun or the moon or projectors. We also give you control to combat janking shadows with shadow clarity and some of the other shadow settings that we have in our drop-down or in our list of shadow sliders, including shadow biasing and all of the various shadow controls that we offer. Below that, you will find the ambient occlusion settings. It's a powerful feature for creating depth and realism, and we have an exclusive feature inside of our viewer for those of you that are very focused on getting the highest possible performance, and that allows you to increase the shadow samples for up-close imagery so that you can get the best quality, and this kind of takes a moment to set up, the best quality ambient occlusion without any additional banding or noise. And this looks particularly good when you're shooting at extremely high resolutions, when you want to get the best quality possible with your shadow samples. All of this information is detailed in our wiki on the Shadow tab, and again, there'll be a link below in the description. Okay, so let's move on now to the Reflections tab. Now, the Reflections tab is all about how surfaces in your scene reflect their surroundings. This includes reflection probes for PBR materials, screen space reflections, and traditional mirrors. And I'm going to go ahead and turn all of those features on now. And I'm going to go over to this neat little handy guide over here. For PBR materials, reflection probes are key, and Aperture allows you to push the resolution higher up to 2048 pixels, and you'll see that here in our reflection probe resolution drop-down combo box for incredibly detailed captures if your system can handle it. For more dynamic reflections, you can enable screen space reflections like I have, which reflect what's currently on your screen. For true planar reflections, you can also use enable mirrors, which we have done as well. So screen space reflections offers controls through iteration and ray stepping to balance quality and performance. However, these don't have a huge impact at the moment on the screen space rendering system. I think that's still something under development from Linden Labs. So as that develops, we will enhance and update the screen space reflection settings to reflect that. But overall, these settings can be stunning, but remember, they are performance intensive, so use them wisely. And things like reflections distance, here you can see, will increase or decrease the depth of the reflections all the way out to the edge of the sim and all the way down to just a meter or so from you. Again, all of these settings on this panel or this tab are in our wiki, and there's a link for that below. All right, next up is the Lens tab. The Lens tab lets you simulate real-world camera lens characteristics to add photographic depth and style to your shots. And I'm going to go ahead and enable depth of field to begin with and go back over to my color chip avatar. Okay. The main star here is obviously depth of field, or DOF as it's called. Enable it, and you can create that beautiful background blur that you see in the back, that you see right now, that makes your background, makes your subject pop against the background. You can adjust the FOV to increase or decrease the depth of that field, along with the other various sliders like F number and focal length. And you can also control the position of your focal plane by moving your mouse and over the screen, and it will determine where your focal plane is. And you can see where that focal plane is by turning on this little eyeball there, or eye icon. And this is a nice little feature developed by Bank & Jenkins. I think that's how you pronounce their name. from Firestorm that we have added, and it allows you really to get a good idea of where you are focusing at the time. It's actually a great feature she developed, and you can also lock it with one of the keyboard shortcuts up here at the top. I can't quite remember the keyboard shortcut off the top of my head, but it's up there, and that allows you to always lock it. So no matter where you move your camera, you'll always be locked on your subject. Really neat feature. I think that's probably one of the best things that I've seen in quite a while in relation to DOF. So bravo to Beck for that. Really well done. Okay, so below that we have our glow settings, and we've gone ahead and reintroduced a couple of the settings that were taken off through a code change from the Linden Lab viewer, and those include luminance minimum and alpha limits. I'm not going in too much into depth in that. I'll hold that off for the wiki so you can kind of do a deep dive into there. All of the settings are explained in there in quite detail, but they are there and they allow you that a little bit additional control that you might be missing in some of the later or more recent versions of different viewers, because it was removed from Linden Labs code. Now, one of our exclusive features here to Aperture Viewer that we're really proud of and we love a lot visually is chromatic aberration, and that allows you to add cool imperfect lens effects or looks to stylize your image, and just a quick view of how it kind of adjusts the image and gives you that almost 3D glasses effect. And at the bottom we have a softness adjustment to make it not so harsh and exaggerated at the edges. We really love this look, and we hope you enjoy it as much as we do. Okay, so all of those settings again are in our wiki, and we'll have a link for that below. Okay, let me just reset the chromatic aberration, and let me just turn off DOF just for a moment. And let's now look at what is arguably the most transformative feature of Aperture Viewer, and the thing that really we're super proud of and super excited to share with everyone in the community with, and that is the post-processing tab. It's something exclusive to our viewer, first time in Second Life, first time in really any virtual viewer that we're aware of, or virtual world, and not something you see common in most 3D animation programs like Second Life. This is an entire mastering studio, image mastering studio, built right into your viewer, operating, and this is the fun part, in real time. It offers a mimicked interface, or the interface mimics the controls that you would find in Adobe Camera Raw, for those of you that are familiar with that, and the controls that are similarly found in Lightroom for tone mapping. So we have exposure, contrast, highlights, shadows, whites, blacks, and we can crush the blacks, and we can just kind of see how that all plays out. And I'm not going to spend too much time on these, but these are some really powerful tools. For those of you that are familiar with Adobe Camera Raw, we spent a lot of time making sure that the value adjustments that we have here, you'll notice are the same values, 100 to negative 100, have the same, or not the same, extremely similar impact on the image as they do in Adobe Camera Raw. Below our tone mapping settings, we have our color balance and saturation settings, which is divided into two groups. The first part is our color balance, and again, this is mimicked almost 100% to what you find in color balance in Photoshop. So you can adjust the red and cyan balances, magenta green, yellow and blue for the shadows, the mids, and the lights. And you can also toggle preserving the lumens. Again, for every setting, almost every setting in APS, you can always just hit D to reset that setting back to its default. And now we also have saturation control, where you can go for a nice black and white look. You can also similarly control the vibrance. Again, these are taken from their counterparts in Adobe Camera Raw. And something that's somewhat unique to how we handle saturation, we offer luminance red and luminance green and luminance blue control. These values kick in for any saturation that is not equal to 1, and you can then adjust those, not only just for black and white, but also for color images. It can help really kind of get a color channel effect or control for those of you that are familiar with that in Photoshop. We also have included the sharpening effect that was added by Linden Labs as part of one of their recent updates. And we've introduced a grain into the viewer to mimic the kind of grain that you would find in Adobe Camera Raw, for those of you that would like to add that little bit of grain. All of these settings are detailed in our wiki, and there'll be a link for this tab down below as well. Okay, let's move on to the Avatar tab. The Avatar tab is your go-to for controlling how your avatar and others are rendered and behave. You can control HUD attachments, whether or not you show particles that are attached to your avatar, attached lights, or even hide avatars, including yourself. That's my avatar, so when I turn it off and on, you can see that my avatar goes in and out. You can limit the complexity of avatars that are displayed, just like you can through the Preferences menu, the avatar count, avatar physics, and you can also implement, or you can also control the speed of the avatar. Now, it's a little difficult to see in my avatar here because it's just a color checker chart, but you can control how quickly your avatar and all of the avatar animations move in world by simply using this. And it's a fun feature. It allows you to completely freeze frame the speed of your avatar. Finally, you can control the avatar height as well. This blank space is left there for a purpose, and we will be adding a feature in an upcoming release to go there. But for now, we're just leaving it as a placeholder for a surprise that we have coming in a future release. Okay. The General tab contains broad rendering settings, performance options, and some useful interface aids. A key feature is the Aperture Performance Tuned graphics levels. So instead of confusing labels like low or ultra, we have 9 levels named for the main visual feature that they enable, like basic HDR and effects, or shadows, or depth of field. These are carefully tuned to provide good performance starting points. Of course, you can then fine-tune everything. We also have toggles for features like dynamic LOD. Aperture sets object detail higher by default to stop your small accessories from deforming. Full bright as well. Anisotropic filtering. And you can even control the scale of the UI. It's all about giving you control in the General tab, and you can learn about what all of these settings do on our wiki. All right. Last but certainly not least is the Camera tab. This is where you'll find the standard camera movement controls under Viewer Camera, alongside Aperture's powerful and exclusive camera preset system. Whether you prefer the standard Viewer Camera or a 3D joystick, which has its own dedicated sub-tab here with sensitivity controls, Aperture gives you 12 presets for each mode. That's 24 camera presets that you can save. And I'm going to go ahead and show you an example of that now. So I'm going to save one here and save one here, and then save one here, and then I can load it, I can load it, and I can load it. And the same is true if you use the Viewer Camera. We could change our camera and save a slot here. We could go down and save a slot here. We could move over and save a slot here, and then we could load it, we could load it, and we could load it. So those are our camera presets. They are a massive time saver. They use global coordinates, so they work perfectly across different sims. It's a massive time saver for photographers and video makers, and the Camera tab And again, all of these settings can be found and explained on our wiki. All right. I guess really last, but certainly not least, are our graphics preset setting system. You can save in other viewers graphic presets, but ours is slightly different in that you can save every single, or nearly every single graphics preset that you see here in the various tabs. So if I were to create a look using my post effects, let's say a nice black and white look where I dialed in colors that I really liked and I thought that it had a cool style to it, and I added a little grain, I could go ahead and save it. I could name it anything I want, say black and white 01, and hit save. And then at any time, if I load any one of the standard presets or any other preset, I can just hit load and go to the drop-down menu, and I'll find it, and it will instantly load all of those settings back for me. Can take a little bit if you're going from the lowest settings to something that has features turned on, because the viewer has to kick in all of these features at one time. But give it a moment and it will kick on all of the features and you will be good as gold. Okay. Usually it doesn't take that long, but we were on the lowest setting. So let's do another one. Let's go back to ambient occlusion and let's load that again. And you'll see it's instantaneous. But if you're all the way down at the bottom, essential features, it doesn't really have anything turned on. So it can take quite a while to load all of those settings into one. You can find links to our wiki, our friendly Discord community for live support and sharing your work and for asking questions, and our GitHub page for reporting bugs or sharing new features, or suggesting new features, I should say, in the description below this video or on our GitHub main repository page. Thank you for taking this tour with me. We are incredibly excited about Aperture Viewer and what it can do for visual creators. Download it. Try it and show us what you can create with Nothing's Not Possible. Happy creating, and I'll see you in World.